Okay, so welcome to Mines. Now this map is one of the smaller maps in the game, and I believe it's the smallest map at tier 10. For some reason this map is still at tier 10, I don't really know why. It should be tier 6 and below, it shouldn't see tier 7s or above. It's kind of just stupid at tier 10. Everyone has maximum spotting range, it doesn't really make sense. The hill is quite dominant, although you can kind of counter it now and again in certain locations. Because you're going to need to go to the edges of the hill to actually spot anything, you can then just go up against it and try and counter them by proxy spotting them. This can work, although over this side of the hill, if you go right here, you spot, you pull back, and then you can actually shoot anyone that's over here. There are even a few locations where you can actually see through, so you don't need to go right up to the edge. Now, the reason why the hill is so important is this side of the map is kind of won or lost almost if you have the hill or not. I say this because you can go here and here to counter the enemies. You can go to this position. This position is more dominant than this position because you can get shot a lot easier over here rather than here. But you can just shoot down on the enemies that are battling it out over here quite easily. And it's not really great, this position. It turns into a stalemate quite fast. The same for this position here. You're going to see people here, here, and around here. The same for over here. You'll see them around here and over here. There are a few hold down locations that you can go to around here, but we'll get to that later on in the video. But yeah, that's basically mines in a nutshell. You can go 1-2 line, although because people have so much view range on this map, you try and push this, they're going to know about it. It doesn't really matter if it's a fast tank, a slow tank, you push this, you are going to be spotted more than likely. Because even people over here will be able to spot you. You know, it's just one of these maps where you can't really do anything unless you get lucky or the team makes a mistake. The enemy team makes a mistake. But yeah, let's get into the light tanks now, and we will show you some of the positions. Okay, so light tank spot number 1 is going to be just on the hill. It's just the basic, let's get onto the hill and just see what happens. Obviously from this side, I believe the north spawn does actually get an advantage. So it's slightly faster on the north, although you're not really going to tell the difference too much. Once you actually get up here, it's more than likely that you would have been spotted because you will see other enemies that are doing exactly the same thing, so you're going to get in a fight straight away. But once you do get up here, if you do win the hill, you can then actually just use this location over here, and you can then just go quickly spot people around here and pull back. And as long as you're not getting proxy spotted, you shouldn't be spotted at all. It doesn't really... there are a few gaps in the bushes where you can actually go and you will be able to spot a few people. Like there. But you kind of got to line it up perfectly, and it doesn't really work all the time. So it's best if you just go here, you pull back, you can then shoot through the bush and kill anyone that's over there. But that's basically the hill. The same goes for the other side. You just go straight up through there, and you battle out the enemy light tanks or whoever else is here, and then you've got multiple bushes over here where you can actually peek through, spot the enemies, and pull back. You can sometimes spot the artillery. They will be over this way, over here. I've never seen an artillery go anywhere else on this map. The same for this side, artillery will be over here or in here. Never really seen an artillery go anywhere else, because there's no point. By the time that they get anywhere, they've been spotted and dead. So, yeah. Now, the next spot is over here. And it's sort of like... this map is almost mirrored on this side, where you can just go into these bushes and you'll just spot everything that is coming over this side of the map. There's quite a bit of bush here because, well, look at it. You don't really need to worry about too much. You can spot anything that's coming over here. Now, yes, you might get blind shot here a few times because there are only a few bushes that you can be can be spotting from. The same goes for over here. Blind shot some of these bushes just for luck, because the chances of you actually hitting someone are probably quite high. you know, you've got plenty of chance that where they're going to be sitting in one of these bushes, for sure. I mean, they're obviously not going to be behind a rock spotting you. So you might as well take your chances and blind shot some of these. Especially if you're spotted, you've got nothing really to lose. But yeah, you can only be on one of, well, technically 4. And you're going to get spotted more than likely going to this one and this one. So the chances of you being in one of these 2 is quite high. But yeah, you just pull back a little bit, spot through. You're relatively safe here. But yeah, try it in game, see how it goes. I'm now going to show you the other side of the map, which are these bushes over here. Okay, so the next spot. I'm going to show you this bush over here. Now, right here is the bush that I'm talking about. Now, you can try and get into these bushes if you are like super fast tank, but as soon as you go into those bushes there, your chances of being detected rise quite a bit. So it's kind of worth to sit in this bush. As you can see, it's a nice bush, and you will be able to spot anyone that's trying to cross over here or even over here. So you'll get a great vision for your team from this position. And also, it's kind of hard for the enemy to spot you since, well, there's no real place for them to do it unless they hard push this, which is never going to happen early on in the game. So this position is relatively safe, and I would suggest you try it in your light tanks and see how it goes. The next position is just further up from here, and you can either go into this bush right here and try and do the same thing if you want a little bit more cover than that. The only reason why I like to go into that bush rather than up here is because, one, you're a lot faster there, so as soon as you get into there, the chances of you actually spotting someone is going to increase quite a bit. Rather than you going all the way up here and then trying to get into, say, this bush right here, which is kind of like the god bush, because you can see basically everything. Even TDs that are sitting over here, you'll be able to spot them. If you're in an EBR, just go to this bush, no problem. If you're in a other light tank that's a bit slower, then maybe go into that bush. Depending on the map and the tier, there you go. But this bush is great. The only problem with this bush is that if they get too close, you will get spotted. This isn't like a great bush, as you can see. It does have a few like kind of holes in it here where they can see you. It's just one of these like kind of almost fake bushes, but I've come to the conclusion that this is why you sometimes get spotted in bushes, is when they're like this, where you can see through them and it just doesn't, you know, do anything for you. So as long as you don't do that and you stay around about here or just push forwards a little bit, you should be fine. Okay, so next up is the medium tanks. Now, over here is where I'm going to show you first. I will also show you this spot over here, but just be warned, this goes for heavy tanks as well, so yeah. But what I'm going to do over here is just try and get as far away as is possible from this bit here, because as we all know, probably people are going to be sitting here or here. If they're sitting there, then there's not really much you can do, so you're just going to have to kind of hope for the best. But once you get around here, you should be pretty safe, and then you can use this ridgeline right here to actually poke up, try and see anyone, pull back down, and so on and so forth. You can also try and push this. Pushing this is actually doable because of you will have your team supporting you here, so you don't really have to worry about getting shot from the right. Unless your team does something monumentally wrong, you shouldn't be shot from the right hand side. The only place that you could get shot is as you're coming across here from there. But most of the time you just come up here and you can battle it out around here. The same goes for obviously the other side. You just do exactly the same. Medium tanks for the other side, you can go into the middle. I will show you that now, but just be aware it's just exactly the same for the other side. Okay, so for the middle of the map, exactly the same as I showed you if you're going up the hill. Now, you can go up the hill in a medium tank. I would probably suggest it in something like a TVP or something like that, if you don't want to go over this side. The only problem with the hill is if you lose that hill, then you're dead. If you go up with your team, they all die. Chances of you dying rise significantly. So, I mean, I would suggest going around about here, especially a 430U. You can just go here, try and shoot out anyone that's around here. Use this as a hold down cover. You know, more than likely, heavy tanks will come up all the way to this rock here, so you can actually shoot them. You just got to be careful of anyone sitting over here. Same goes for heavy tanks. You come here if you really want to. I would not suggest going here ever, because you expose your hull armor. So straight away you're going to get shot, die. There is not much point of going in between these two rocks. Yeah, but that's basically just the middle of the map. It's exactly the same. You either sit around here or you go up close, or you can go sit around here or here. Exactly the same. That's just how medium tanks can play. You can kind of play wherever you want. Try and get to the hill. If you can get onto the hill in a medium tank, then that's good, because then you can actually start to farm some people. If not, then you really have to decide early on in the game, as you're going to it, whether or not you're going to the hill. See how many people you've got, see if they're going to the hill, and if they're going up there, just join them. Because chances of you winning then are significantly increased. Okay, so for the heavy tanks. Now, yes, you can go into the middle, as I've already shown, so you just go exactly the same as the medium tanks. If you're on a faster heavy tank, then yes, you can go actually up into the hill. Although, I would suggest kind of just playing around here and not going up to the hill, because you can lose a lot of hit points going up the hill, especially if you're in a slower heavy tank. And the majority of the heavy tanks are slower than medium tanks, so being a faster heavy tank doesn't always mean that you are fast. But you just want to play around here. Now, here is the reason why this spot here is so crucial. Medium tanks can go up on here and then shoot down on you. That is why the hill is so useful, especially in this position. As you can see, you're going to be fighting around here. You're going to keep on peeking backwards and forwards, and they just come out here, shoot down on you, no problem. The same goes for the other side. When you're actually facing this way, they can come out here, up onto this position here, and shoot down on you. As you can see, if you're actually fighting people over here, they are going to kill you, hit you, no problem. The only thing is that yes, they can actually get shot from the TDs pretty easily, whereas the other side, not so much. But this is where you want to be. You want to just be fighting around here, not exposing too much, because if you expose too much of your tank, then you open yourself up to TDs either side of the map. But yeah, that's basically it for heavy tanks. It's a really easy map to play for heavy tanks. You just go to one of two spots. You don't really have any other choices. That's just the nature of mines. Okay, and finally the tank destroyers. Well, they're just going to sit at the back of the map, either in these two spots here. So you can choose, just get into one of these bushes. You can go this side, or I like to go here because, well, I can just see a lot more. So I can sit here, and then you can also snipe anyone that's going to be sitting in this bush here, or alternatively anyone in here. Also the heavy tanks as they're peeking up. I like this spot a lot, especially for lightly armoured TDs. This spot works quite well because you can hide behind the rock as some solid cover. The other spot is the one over here. Now this will... honestly, I don't recommend going here unless you know there's a lot of people suddenly coming this way. But you just go over here and you try and help out your team by killing anyone that's pushing through here. You can also see basically the whole entire city over this way, so this spot's very nice for that. Let's now move on to the other side, since there's not really any other spots over here where a TD can really go. Okay, so over this side of the map, you want to go up here. Now, there's nowhere else on the map that you should really go in a TD. If you're going to be a lightly armoured TD, you should go nowhere else if you spawn this side of the map. There is an argument to say that you could go over here. I mean, if you're on a Scorpion G, then maybe, because that's a bit more mobile. But you just want to sit in any of these bushes. This bush right here is actually quite useful because you can actually shoot people as they're going up. Also, you can then kind of first get an idea of where to aim, and then you can pull back and just wait for them to appear. And in that way, you will definitely not be spotted as you shoot, because, yep, they come up here, they're probably going to see you as you shoot, sorry. But the other thing that you need to worry about is obviously the hill, so just watch out for that. But basically anywhere around here works. You can go over here into this bush right here, and that will also be quite useful early on in the game when people are trying to rush up. As you can shoot people right here, so you're going to have a quick reaction time and do quite a bit of lead. But if you know kind of how fast your gun will shoot, then this spot is really good because you can just shoot any light tanks that are trying to quickly rush the hill straight away. So yeah, that's basically been mines. It's not really a great map. especially for the higher tiers. Lower tiers it's not too bad, it's a pretty fun map to play in the lower tiers, but high tiers it's not really a very fun map to play. If you did enjoy this video, then check out the Discord, I'll link it down in the comments, it's also in the description. And yeah, follow me on Twitch, whatever, you know what to do. I'll see you in a bit.